Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the 105 leFH18B2, the French Tier 5 premium SPG that we know and love as Fifi La Pew Pew. You might know it's a leFhy, a leaf blower, or a leHeffer. This one is located on the south spawn of Serene Coast under the command of Appa561 of OLIMP. Game on! Well, in fact, we've got 3 replays for you today in this one, all featuring Appa561 and all in the Fifi La Pew Pew. 105mm light field howitzer. It's a German howitzer. In fact, it's a German Arty, but it should actually be on the German tech tree. But Wargaming in then, well, they decided to put it in the French tech tree instead. Mainly because, of course, the tank was originally a French one, but converted by the Germans for use as an artillery piece. Now, it's 105mm in caliber, which means it's capable of doing 410 alpha and 53mm pen with a 1.91 meter burst radius. This Arty has gone right the way into the corner, which is very difficult for the enemy to spot. They'd have to get really close in order to know he was here. But from this position, he can hit enemy tanks out in the peninsula, and it looks like that T1 Heavy, oh, 2 rounds come in on him. Yep, there's another RT in our team. It's an M41 HMC. On the enemy team, they've got an AMX-13AM, that's the French Tier 5, and an SU-122A, which of course is the Tier 5 Soviet SPG. Okay, it's going to be reloaded. Rounds out the KV2. That hit. 145 actually hit the turret at the rear. You can see the yellow stain where the round impacted. The standard reload, 8.92 seconds. Appa561's got 7.54. So he's pumping those shells out really quick. There's the T1 Heavy that he aimed at originally. Slightly to the rear of the vehicle. Yeah, these guys are moving in such a way as to try and throw off the shells. So obviously they've experienced RT fire before and they know how to avoid it. You can't avoid it all the time. If you've got to take aim, then you've got to stay still long enough for the gun to dial in. And if you do that, then obviously the RT can get a hit on you. And the KV2R just took another hit. But the KV2 managed to throw off that last shell. We're seeing some shells coming in from a different direction. And they're the enemy RT. Letting it dial in before he shoots. He let that one a little too late. It really does help actually if you pick a spot, aim at that spot ahead of time, and then obviously just let the enemy tank drive through that spot and you fire just before he does go through to get a direct hit. That's a direct hit there. And we can see this Govica, well, he's died very quickly. He died to a T-78. We're 2 tanks down on the enemy at the moment. It looks like the enemy left most of the west side of the map unoccupied. There was a couple of tanks there, but they've been destroyed. And now we're looking at that battle from a long way away. But I don't think there's any opponents nearby where Appa561 is. So he could actually move up. But at the moment, he's staying near the cap because obviously he needs to defend the cap. Because a couple of enemy tanks have made it across the peninsula and are now attacking the cap area. We're looking at the Achilles, which of course is a British M10 with a 17-pounder. And there's the enemy AMX ELC Biz. He fires at that guy. We didn't get to see if that shell impacted the target because he pulled away too quickly. We can't get a shot on that Panzer F-Spy, mainly because the guy is just the other side of the rock. Oh, we just received fire from this steer who came around the corner, the Steerwaffenträger, and he's very close to us. And he fires another round in, but does a huge amount of damage. Then he ram kills the guy, and that leaves him on just 2 hit points. Now that we're 1 up on the enemy, there's only 5 enemies left. So that Waffenträger did reveal where Appa561 was, but the enemy Arty wasn't able to get a shot in quickly enough. So now we've got the situation whereby the enemy is approaching our cap, but there's a few defenders still around. He's moving into a defensive position in the bushes, just in case the enemy appears. Okay, he's got no shot here because there's a red line. You notice that red line running up from the center of the screen, or running to the center of the screen from the bottom. That shows the travel of the shell, where the shell would travel. If there's an object in the way, it goes red. Well, he's decided to change position again. Got 2 in the cap, and they've just capped out, which means we've won this game. Here's the end of battle stats of the first game, and that was a 3rd class tanker for Appa561 of OLIMP in the 105 leFH18B2. He managed to get a kamikaze out of that one because he rammed a tank which was a higher tier than his own and killed it with the ram, as well as a win rate of 3029, which is Unicum standard. So yes, he did very well in the game because he ended up the battle with, well, 2 hit points more than necessary to actually stay alive. 1,358 was the hit points that he managed to get in the game, but the highest hit points turned out to be the enemy KV2 with 1,985, followed by the Jackson on our team with 1,785, followed by the Achilles on the enemy team with 1,737. When it came to kills, we can see top scorers were the T78 and the Waffenträger on our team. They got 3 kills apiece. 2 kills went to the Skoda T25, and he actually got a Prestigious medal by killing both enemy SPGs. And that's why we didn't get hit by any of the SPGs, because, yes, the Skoda had dealt with them. And on the enemy team, the KV2, the Achilles, the KV2R, and the Zadimika all managed to get 2 kills apiece. We can see that Appa561 only got the 1 kill, which was, of course, the Waffenträger. When it came to base XP, we can see top scorer was the Jackson with 827, and then Appa561 in 2nd place, 702, followed by the Skoda T25 getting 618. He fired 18 rounds in the game, so he still had plenty of ammo left over. 6 direct hits on the enemy, 2 penetrating shots, and 8 splash. Damage of 1,358, of which 558 were more than 300 meters. So you can see a lot of damage at close range, mostly on the Waffenträger. 3 hits received, 1 penetration, 2 splash damage hits. I think actually the Waffenträger switched to HE ammunition, thinking that would be better off for him. Actually, it did works out the other way around, because he actually fired into the hull of the vessel, which is strong armor, instead of firing into the gun shield, which is the very weak armor. 1 enemy vehicle was spotted, that's the Waffenträger. 4 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and he earned on a free-to-play account 22,023 credits and 1,591 experience points. So a first game is a victory, only at 3rd class, but that kamikaze is what really made it funny. Because, of course, if you get rammed by an Arty and you die, yes, you really have fouled up. So let's have a look at the second replay. The second replay is on the Karelia map, and we're on the northeast spawn. Game on! Well, the Fifi isn't a fast Arty. 28 kilometers an hour is the maximum speed this thing can do. As you can see, going uphill, it's considerably slower. In fact, he's maxing out at about 20. Oh, he's getting up to about 30. That was a downhill bit there. Yes, it's not particularly fast, but it is very good at ramming, mainly because it's a heavy tank. And if a tank gets too close and they do get within ramming distance, then you can expect that the Arty player might actually try and take you out that way. Appa's actually spotted an enemy tank making its way towards the horseshoe, which of course has changed ever since they put the events into the game. Yes, you get that bunker complex there now, which obviously gets destroyed if there is a special event. So you don't want to be the other side of the bunker complex when it does come down, because otherwise you could get crushed. Well, the T-34 doesn't want to come up because there's another T-34 already up there. And in fact, they're just fighting it out because we can't actually get a shell on that position. Now, there is a special event actually going on. Yep, so we're about to see the bombers crush that bunker. Long range shot on the Panzerfire-F2. And the bunkers come down, although we can't see it. These long-range shots are almost at maximum range. The reason you can tell that is because the rescue gets flattened. Eventually it turns into an ovoid and then it becomes a flat line. And that's when you know you're at maximum range and you have to get closer if you want to get more shots. There is that Churchill, and we can shoot at that, and the Wolverine. The Wolverine will make a better target because, of course, he's actually very thin on armor. Okay, he's lining up the shot. Rounds out. Oh, he's killed the Wolverine with one round. Yes, it was a good choice. Yes, and you can see where the rubble has fallen from that bunker. Now we're aiming at the M10 RBFM. No, I didn't think he was going to repeat it from that shot. It would have been too lucky to get two shots on the target. Unfortunately, we've lost anybody spotting up there now, so we've got no chance of knowing where that Churchill actually went. There was a Churchill 3 up there, but we don't know where he is now. You need to have somebody spotting for you in order to see where the enemy is. Well, there's a Churchill 1 over here, and we're dialing in on him. Rounds out. And that's a kill shot. Landed on the engine deck, actually. The guy had taken some damage just before the shell arrived, but it certainly did help. And when the shell hit the engine deck, it wiped the guy out. So that's 2 kills now for Appa561. He thinks that there's a KV-1 there. Yeah, there is a KV-1 there. He was hiding. And now we're lining up a shot ahead of his path. Now, yes, that was a good estimate based on the fact that the guy was moving slowly. Unfortunately, he stopped to take a shot, and as a consequence, we didn't get that one on target. You see the vehicle spin round, you see the reticule appear. Now, he uses a technique which actually enables you to move very quickly to the other side of the battlefield. He has killed the M10 now. What you do is you hold down your control key on the left, and then you put your mouse cursor over the mini-map, and you right-click on the area you want to see, and it quickly moves the aim view, or the total view, towards that, and obviously the vehicle then catches up. The enemy Churchill 3 has met his match. Yes, he met a Ram 2, and of course the Ram 2 is a Canadian version of the M4, one of the original early versions using the M3 hull. Of course, they did make a later version using the modified M4, and that was actually known as the Grizzly. At least in Canada it was. That was a bit snap. But that Panzerfire-F2 is now basically a one-shot for us. If only we can get a shot on target. We can't see him at the moment. There are some more enemy tanks up there. In fact, there's a bathtub. The S-35CA. But we couldn't get a shot on that target because he was just too close to the rocks. Something I do know in this battle is that Appa's team certainly did appreciate the help he was actually giving them. There's only 4 enemies remaining. He's already got 3 kills. He wants more. He's looking around for where he expects the enemy might be. More than likely, they would actually be hiding in positions where there was rocks to provide them cover. Well, he's found one of the enemy, or rather, one of his team has, and it's an M41 HMC, so he's dialing in on that spot. Rounds out. Long range shot, and he takes the M41, and that's his 4th kill now. There's only 3 remaining. Yes, the Appa's team actually did appreciate the fact that he put a lot of effort into winning this game. And yes, that's a bit of a giveaway, I suppose. Shouldn't have mentioned that bit, but you can tell. In fact, actually, somebody's already said, "Nice work, Arty," in chat. And Appa's responded saying, "Trying." And another enemy's been spotted. This time it's a 60 GFT. But unfortunately, he kills the Ram 2 before Appa can get a shot on him. And there's another Wolverine. I think he's going to try and hit the 60 GFT first, where he gets derped out of existence by the Wolverine. So let's see what we can do. He's long range. Remember the flat reticule? The Wolverine just got wiped out by the gorilla on the enemy team. Got shotgunned. So we're trying to line up a shot ahead of path. Looks like the guy moved forward. Oh, he's killed him. What a shot. A long-range blind shot. He anticipated the guy would move forward to sit behind the wreck, and he actually got that shot and aimed at that spot. There was no tank there when he fired, but there was a tank there when the shell arrived, and it completely wiped out the Wolverine. So that's 5 kills now for his team. Now, last remaining enemy is the gorilla, and he just tried to shotgun our M10 RBFM. Now, can we get a shot on this guy? Well, he's hiding behind a bunker. And that's the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and now he's moved up to a 2nd class tanker. He was the 3rd class tanker the last time, 2nd class tanker this time. And he also got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. In fact, he actually got 5, which is 1 short of getting a Top Gun and 1/3 of the enemy team. He also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 10, and his win rate was higher, 3,692 this time, which is Super Unicum standard. If we look at the team score, we can see that the highest damage in the game turned out to be Appa561 of OLIMP. Yep, he got 1,405 hit points of damage. 2nd highest was the Ram 2, who actually got a Confederate and 1,278. And the 3rd highest was our M10, who managed 1,270 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, he got the highest number of kills as well. 5 kills went to Appa561. 2 kills went to the M10 RBFM and the Wolverine on his team. Nobody on the enemy team managed to get more than 1 kill. And in fact, only 6 players actually managed to get kills at all on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he was actually in 2nd place, so he misses out on getting a clean sweep on the tables. So he's got first place here, and 2nd place here. So top scorer was the Ram 2, who managed 937. Then we've got Appa561 with 807, followed by the M10 RBFM getting 674. He fired 25 rounds, so that's half of his ammunition. He got 7 direct hits and 4 penetrations and 7 splash. Damage of 1,405, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 5, and did 262 hit points of damage assist. On a free-to-play account, he actually made 86,975 credits, including 65,000 credits for mission completion, and he also took away 1,022 experience points altogether. So that's the end of the 2nd battle, and he's improved his score. Let's have a look at the 3rd battle. The 3rd replay is on the Mines map, and we're on the northwest corner. Game on. Well, it looks like he's headed for the same pocket as the gorilla, or at least the gorilla's going behind the bushes. And Appa561, I think he's decided, well, it looks like he's going for Nigel's spot. Yes, my spot, the spot I found a long time ago, years ago, more than 8 years I think it was. And it's this little spot over here. It's in grid square C1. There used to be a little ridge line here, which actually hid you, plus some bushes. But from this spot, it's very easy to get shots on enemy tanks that are going inside the hill. Okay, so we've got an M4A1 just inside the hill there. Don't worry about the wandering reticule. That's a problem that Wargaming have not fixed in, well, nearly a decade now. Well, first shot misses the Wolverine. This one should be a little closer. Well, the Su-85 went right to the corner and the Wolverine has died. Well, it appears to be a lot of enemy tanks over here and they're dying like flies. Oh, that did a bit of damage and the VK goes down. We just saw the tracer from one of the enemy Artys who's at the back of the map. We're firing at the Gabler destroyer. Dialing in again. And we're loaded. Oh, that's a direct hit and a big one, a penetrating shot, 463. He's going to fire the same spot again. Unfortunately, that one appears to hit the brick wall. So we'll give it another go. Rounds out. Just missed. Trying to get a shot on that Gabler destroyer. Unfortunately, we've lost sight of him, so we're going to try and hit the enemy Arty. There's one at the back here, just to the right. And there's one in the corner. Yes, you can see the one that just fired, who's behind the building. There he is. And the other one's also been spotted. Just missed him. He moved position. He's now hugging the wall. So we should be able to get a shot in there, though. And we've been spotted now by the enemy. In fact, I think it's that Gabler destroyer who's trying to kill us. But we've wiped out the enemy Fifi. Yes, you can see the Gabler destroyer is firing HE at us. He has made the mistake that he thinks that HE will work better. Unfortunately, it doesn't. This is a heavy tank. You fire HE at it, it just... Well, it doesn't... It does do some damage, but not a huge amount. You can see the Gabler destroyer did get one hit on the gun shield for 109. But the other shots, they did relatively little. Now, the M4A1's also trying to kill us. Yeah, he's trying to get a shot on us, but instead we got a shot on him, and he's out the game. So, we've now got 2 kills, and we've wiped out one of the enemy Arty. The Gabler destroyer was actually killed by one of our teammates. He only had a couple of hit points left, so he really did suffer from that big hit. And now the enemy appears to be trying to take our guys out. Oh, we've got an AEC now, a wheeled vehicle, a British wheeled. Okay, let's see what we can do. Rounds out. Oh, so close to getting another kill there. You see, the good thing about this position is that it enables you to shoot at the enemy tanks on the south side of the hill as they try to get into the hill. And you can actually deter them from trying to get up into the hill itself. It's actually a very good position. And the enemy doesn't expect shells to be coming in at them from sideways. And it really does put them off when it happens. Okay, Got an M10 RBFM and ARMT. The ARMT is actually very close to the entrance to the hill. We're trying to get this M10 RBFM. Unfortunately, we've got nobody spotting it there at the moment. Closest tank to us is the Type T34, and he's looking, but he can't see the M10 RBFM because he's actually just hiding behind that rock. And there he is. He's on the move. He tried to get away. Rounds out. Just over the top of him. Type T34 is firing at him quite a lot. Now we think he's just behind that tank destroyer, or the wreck. Can't see the ARMT either. There he is. He's moving towards the hill. Lining up the shot. Fires the round in too early. Okay, we should be able to get him the second shot. Yes, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that means we've now got 3 kills. And he's asked the platoon with the Type T34 because obviously they could pick up a brothers in arms. There's the ARMT. He's trying to pull away. He's in range. Rounds out. Oh! Right into his rear. And that's 4 kills now. There's only 1 enemy left. It happens to be the enemy bishop. He's on the move as well. He's trying to run away. Now, line up the shot. And he gets him! And that wins the game. And earns him a counter battery. Here's the end of battle stats. And that was another second-class tanker for Appa561 of OLIMP in the 105 leFH18B2. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. In fact, he ended up with 5. 1/3 of the enemy team and just 1 short of getting a top gun. He also got a count battery fire medal for taking out both enemy SPGs. He killed the Fifi first, and then he killed the Bishop right at the end of the game. And he got a Bruce medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 13 in this battle. And his win rate was 3,638. And although that's slightly lower than his previous battle, he was more efficient in this one. And he was getting great shots on the enemy. And some of them really suffered because they went up very quickly. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, we can see the highest damage in this game actually turned out to be that AC, who managed 1,482 hit points of damage, but he didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. Second highest damage turned out to be, yes, Appa561, 1,390 to him, and third place went to the Type T34 with 1,377. When it came to kills, though, it was Appa561. He got 5 kills. 3 kills went to the M10 RBFM. 2 kills went to the Type T34. And on the enemy team, the AEC, the Stug 4 up here, and also the T67 all got 2 kills piece. When it came to base XP, Appa561 got that one as well. 848 went to him. 658 went to the Type T34. And 589 went to the M10 RBFM. So he got the top in 2 of the columns, just missed out on the damage one. He fired 23 rounds in this game, so yes, didn't even get to half his ammunition. 6 enemy vehicles got direct hits and 4 got penetrations. He got 7 splash damages as well, 1,390 hit points of damage, of which 1,148 were at more than 300 meters. He received 3 hits from the enemy, all from the Gabler destroyer, one of which penetrated the gun shield. That was the big one right at the end, just before the Gabler destroyer got killed. You can see it was at the top of the gun shield, and that's why it did most damage. It was an HE round that penetrated, but all the other ones, well, he was firing those rounds at the hull of the VP, and of course, the hull is heavy armor because it's a heavy tank. 2 hits by way of splash damage, those are the HE rounds. 9 enemy vehicles damaged in total, 5 killed, and he got 101 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count this time, he actually got 32,151 credits profit, And he got 1,781 experience points as well. He says, being a caring soul, he provides love from above. Yes, it's very nice. And yes, he certainly loves playing with the PP, and he's actually helping his team a great deal, because you've seen in each of these battles where he's actually pumping out a lot of damage and getting a large number of kills on the enemy, which is certainly helping the team. Hope you enjoyed these 3 replays. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.